And we're live. We are live. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Toy Box Chronicles, live on the YouTubes and other platforms of, well, to be honest, it doesn't really matter. Hey, Mr. Storm, happy toy evening to you.
Hey, good toy evening to you, brother. How you doing tonight, man?
I am doing fantastical. We are excited with a lot of topics. Most importantly, what is the best toy packages of all times? And vintage, by the way. It can't be new.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we have a special guest, and we're happy to bring him on, and you'll see him right after this. Well, for whatever reason, today's just like a great technical. It's technical fallacy. Whatever I said, hey, it's that one move. Whatever. Anyways, we're back and we're golden. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce our special guest, the Mini KB Toy Store himself, Mr. Chris.
Hey,
Chris, welcome.
Well,
my friend.
This is my first appearance on the Toy Box Chronicles. I know we get to spend some time together on Friday evenings, the Shadow Crew podcast. But I've been watching the show every week, and as a toy collector, buyer, seller, I'm like, what better way than to join the Toy Box Chronicles cast as we're talking about the best packaging, because that's one of the things that I collect is really great packaging. So I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, man. I think we got a lot that we're going to get into. Love the news. This is going to be fantastic to have your input on this and to really dig into it. Obviously, there's a lot happening with Whatnot stores. So, where do we start, Mr. Storm? Where do you feel like we should start?
Well, we always got the news of the week, so let's run some toy news.
Yeah.
And the one thing that's popping up this weekend, if you're in Southern California, like two of us are, you got the WonderCon that's popping this weekend in Anaheim. And this is one of the few times where I've noticed in the past, it's mostly been about comics, a lot of television or streaming. They actually have some toy companies that's popping through. And that kind of got me. Hasbro's supposed to make announcements on Saturday, from what I'm understanding, from 3 to 4 p.m. And there's going to be dropping some possible reveals. I've heard it's going to be some exclusive G.I. Joe stuff popping up. So I also think that if you're a type of person that remembers how they do all their live streams, they always end up having something for pre-order. So after 3 to 4, there might be something popping up on HasbroPost.com. Don't quote me on that, but I got a feeling that's popping down. Also, I saw that NECA is supposed to be putting up some actual stuff too. So I think they've got some toy companies competing with one another. So that's going to be a little bit interesting.
What do you think NECA is going to be putting up? Because
I think probably it's some more TMNT, man. Because it seems like this has been the year where they've been dropping it all over the place.
Yeah,
once they got that license, they just ran with it, man. Over the past couple of years, the level of TMT production, it's pretty crazy.
But let's be honest, they are probably doing the best version of the TMNT stuff, because Super 7 they're just rehashing a lot of the Playmate stuff, but NECA's taking it to a whole new level with the turtles, man.
Well, can I show you something about that real quick? I showed Chris this today, but so like NECA, I pulled this out of my toy store. So NECA, they do like the last Ronin figures, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. I have a majority of them. Most people know that, but if you don't, now you do. You're welcome. But I specifically only collect the actual turtle Ronins. I'm not a big fan of like the side chick Ronins.
Mm-hmm.
So I showed this to Chris because NECA is definitely killing the TMNT license. They're definitely doing it. The packaging is fantastic. You open the figure up and it's like, this is a sturdy figure for the cost. But then, and we'll get into this because this is about the main topic. But then you just have the OGs coming back being like, oh, you want a Ronin figure? Here's our Ronin figure.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is Playmate's Ronin figure.
That's actually pretty good by Playmate. Wow.
And look at the packaging on this one for this Ronin, and it's literally Playmate. You can see down here, it's like the last Ronin, and the crazy thing is I don't know if you can see it because I don't think the light's good enough.
I can kind of see it, yeah.
But the figure has a lot of articulation in it.
Wow.
Versus instead of just like play and it's like I love NECA, but Ronin, like they just came in and were like, let's show you how to make packaging and make a figure.
Well, and one thing is,
look at this. This is the this is the original one, the NECA one.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
This is the Rogue Derelict edition,
which would be the equivalent. Which would be the equivalent of this.
Yeah. So you can see here, this is a different color. But what I like about what you showed just, chat, is I'm about when it's on the shelf, I could see the figure.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the artwork on this one, but I have to open it.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the only thing I don't like is you take this out of the box and display it. Mm-hmm. It's rad. But on a shelf, it's not presentable. And as you can see, like on my shelf, I like to present some of the stuff. Mm-hmm. So the art is cool, but I like the one that Chet just showed. I don't know about the figure itself, it's different figure types. I think I like NECA in general better.
Absolutely.
I
think that packaging is so awesome.
Well, I say the same thing. I have the RoboCop, and it's from NECA. In the same way, I didn't pull it out the packaging, and you basically have to display it with bend out the actual opening of the cardboard. And there's some good stuff with that, and there's nothing wrong with it. But that Playmates, they did up the game on packaging. I know tonight is all about the vintage packaging, but wow, did they do a good job on that form of packaging? Because I noticed with Playmates, they normally just have the old school clams on a lot of their stuff. So that's a really nice display box. I give them credit for that. And while we're on to that, Shadow's favorite toy company back in the day with Jakks Pacific. Jakks has not really been doing a lot of stuff lately, but they are holding a panel on the 29th at 5 p.m. And that's Pacific Standard Time. So that's our time right here. So a couple hours before we do the show on Friday, they're actually holding a live panel. They're introducing their version of the Simpson figures. Now, Super 7 has that lineup, but I've seen Jakks Pacifics. And if you're looking at this one, the difference is that they're a little smaller and they don't have as much articulation like the Jakks Pacific. But I've got to think that when I'm looking at the some of the images of this, it's not going to be the $50 to $55 to $60 Super 7 pricing, because they kind of like outpriced those Simpson figures way beyond. It's nice packaging. The characters look great, but I don't see $55 to $60 when I see their version of their Simpson figures. So again, Super 7 overpricing things as they normally do.
Can somebody make a well-articulated Simpson figure?
I think they can. I did. Playmates used to do some in the early 90s,
it was just like
2000.
Wasn't it basic? Like, I think they could take it to the next level. It doesn't need to be Spider-Man. It doesn't need to be Marvel Legends or the Mafex, but give me like a Bart give me like a Bartman or something that can articulate with a skateboard. It'd be kind of rad. That's cool.
It's nice that Jax is coming back because I remember years ago they used to be a top player in the industry. Then they moved into, after Pirates of the Caribbean debacle that they had, they kind of like plummeted the company. And I know again, Shadow preaches that they did some of the best wrestling figures he's ever seen. And yes, we've also had a chance to tour their Malibu offices way back in the day, and it's nice to see them come back. So. Other than that, the one also major news, and this is the one thing where we have to up our game on Toy Box Chronicles. Not where we're at, Chris, but over in the neck of the woods, Mr. Medics, it was Toy Atlanta.
Yeah.
Now, did you happen to go over to that event, or did you just say, the heck with it that weekend?
Well, so I tried to get to the event. I did, but I couldn't. I just couldn't get there. But Toyland, I believe, happens twice a year.
Okay.
It happens in March, and it happens at the end of the year. So my goal is to get over to Toylanta at the end of the year. The other problem, if I'm just being transparent with me going to Toylanta, is that I would run out of money probably. Probably not, but I'm just you know what I'm saying.
I saw again, we're never shied away from other people's YouTube pages. I've seen a couple of YouTube pages that they went to Toy Atlanta. Yes, it looks like it's very easily for you to drop some major dollars walking in the door.
Yeah,
but we're gonna have to up our toy game, man. We're gonna start hitting. We missed the Transformer Con that was earlier in the year. So we're really gonna have to start putting this stuff on now. Joe Fest, I know we've been talking about. Flying in, I'll be flying out that way. So
where's Joe Fest at? What state?
Atlanta. Where do you have it? Yeah, it's in Atlanta. I think
what the hell? Everything's in Atlanta. Okay.
Well, it used to be in Anaheim, if I wasn't mistaken, right?
Yeah.
And then they moved it to some, probably also to convention seasons out here is extremely tough to book some of these halls and everything. And I've got to think you would think equally be kind of hard in Atlanta too, to be honest with you, man. So maybe this got better pricing,
It's in Augusta, Georgia, at the Marriott, June 21st through the 23rd. That's it's like 40 minutes for me.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, that's like
it's time to go, people. Yeah. No. Well, if you think about it too, though, I mean, these are all things that people will start seeing us show up at next year, especially with the launch of the Whatnot store and the toy stores that Chris, myself, and you and Julian are all building out of our house. So yeah, we'll be going.
Yeah.
Who's so I'm starting to get a little bit back into Transformers, not massively. I'm more of the Marvel TMT NECA stuff. But who's attending the PulseCon or not PulseCon, but the Pulse event, the fan event tomorrow?
That'll be both Mr. of us Storm? Probably.
Mr. Storm and Chet. I'm curious to see what they're going to announce. Usually they announce some cool figures on that thing. Again, not a super avid Transformer collector, but that's a whole nother universe, man.
Oh yeah.
Some diehard collectors.
The last week, I think they've been doing a stream a week for the entire month. And I know last week we were talking about they dropped that Transformers Legacy 5-pack that was fantastic. So I got a feeling, and I've been seeing little hints and points. I think they're dropping another 5-pack also. But the streams again, our major problem is the merchandise and everything looks great on the streams. It's usually the host because they get guys from the back that probably shouldn't be on camera trying to hawk goods, and it seems to be home shopping networkish. So hopefully, they've gotten somebody in that's going to move this along. But the products are always great, so I can't wait to see that stream. But yeah, we normally, I know Chad will be hitting me back up and like, hey man, you watching the stream? Or usually we're watching it at the same time where we're doing work. So
yeah, I don't know. It's a little weird for me because like Hasbro doesn't even put it up on the site. Like if you go to HasbroPulse.com, like there's nothing up there for it. It's just like Sling is so it's a little weird. I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's usually sometimes they'll drop it right up on like YouTube right quick, and usually there's sometimes there's like major countdowns, and then certain times it's just like you're just on, and somebody tells you, "Hey, man, there's a live stream going on right now, man." So let's see, because again, we get all of our live stream information. I know Entertainment Earth hit us up because that's what will be coming to the Toy Box Chronicles and the other shows and everything, that we got that affiliate link. So looking forward to getting all their information, everything knocked through us. But other than that, man, I think we're ready for that main topic, chat.
Yeah.
So tonight I guess we were all having a discussion about what's up with packaging. We were looking at it. I know if you looked at some of the other videos on the Shadow Notes Network, Shadow's been running into problems where these not clear packaging, basically the clam boxes are being ripped open, or I just saw a person on one of my Facebook groups where he was so happy to pick up a GI Joe character and found out it was like an old rock figure that was in it. And he was like, he's like, what is this? And so I have gotten to the point where I have, if it's the plastic free packaging, like I will purchase something, go up to the counter, cut it open there, and make sure the character's in there before I leave the store with my receipt. Because somehow you just driving off at 30 minutes coming back, I'm sure everybody's running into those issues. But when it comes to packaging, in your guys' mind, who did packaging the best vintage? Nothing new, but back in the day. So we're going to say everything past 2000 and back. That's what we're going to say vintage.
Let me ask this question, because I think it can be one or two things. We could talk about like individual, or do we want to talk about toy line?
You can go either or, man. We can say individually wise, what was the best individual figure? What was the best toy line? Who did it better?
So I'll kick it off with my thoughts.
Okay.
I think that Playmates nailed the idea of selling a toy on a card. I think without Playmates, it just wouldn't be as good as it is today, because Playmates with the Ninja Turtle line had the blister, but it also had the backing to like lay everything out that you got. It just made it enticing. And if you see them, and I have some old on cards, but if you see the turtle in the packaging and then all the weapons, it makes kids want to they want to grab it. Now, I think that set the tone for like the level of what we're expecting in toys. The company that I think like blew it out of the water, and I don't know if they just had a bunch of kids sitting around telling them they liked bright colors or not, but it is really hard to beat Toy Biz. Anything that Toy Biz made from the 90s, their packaging was absolutely phenomenal, and they could sell a toy without a window. Like it's phenomenal. The bright colors, everything. I mean, they even put their 1-800 customer phone number on there. So I think
it's still working today too.
Yeah, no. Well, we're gonna in Retro Rewind, we're gonna do a phone call, I think, to the Toy Biz number.
I got a feeling it's gonna get that out of order. So no. Well, all right. Now I know you're partial to Playmates and everything, and I do think Playmates did it well. I think personally my favorite is probably the Kenner with the Star Wars brand, because they were using all the images from the movies, and they just had a distinctive style. I think Hasbro in the 80s, because I'm always going to tell you GI Joe, because they had Rudy Rudat's beautiful artwork that graced the blister packs. And I got a couple of examples, because we were going over Toy Biz. Now I'm not going to argue with Toy Biz, so let me go get the Toy Biz, because actually I was digging through the Toy Box Chronicle vaults today, and came across Toy Biz Blade, the Wesley Snipes of the original movie, and still in the packaging. You notice that,
Nice.
and like I said again, their card back is fantastic. I love the way they did that. Even if you look at the back of the packaging, it always was informative. And again, they even have illustrations, and they also a brief little sum up of it too. And they have that proof of purchase. And I don't remember if he was able to cut that off and send it out somewhere like the GI Joe stuff.
Probably,
but I do love how the Toy Biz packaging worked. Character was very bright out there. You could see him, all of his accessories.
Yeah.
You know, it was just, you know, you knew where you were getting. And they actually loaded this up, man, because he's got a katana, his throwing blade, a couple of rifles, and everything.
Well, you know, it's funny. You know, it's funny. If you wanted to, we could compare blades. Because
I saw that the Toy
Biz blade from Vampire Wars.
I saw that. Now, when you're saying about Playmates, and I have, you know, I know you had the Turtles. There was one line I was never really a huge Turtle fan growing up, but I was a very huge Jim Lee fan. And I've got the Playmates version of the animated cartoon show Wildcats. And it came with a Jim Lee card. They say some could be autographed. I don't know. I've never taken it out of the package. But if you also look the same way, very much similar to Toy Biz, yet distinctly different. Now, this was the only one in the line because he was Grifter. He was the best character. Yeah, you know, some of the details on some of these Toy Biz, there's no really any kind of major articulation to it, but they did come with like a stand, and I think they were the first.
It has a profile card on the back, right?
It does,
like where you cut it out. The profile, yeah, there it is.
Yep, they did. So you know, it's adorning all of Jim Lee's artwork, which was just making it so. This one I have one that's in the packaging and out of the packaging. And then if we go to and there is every now and then, I know, Chet, you had your Holy Grail, and we were talking about that. And, you know, I'm glad you saw it. But for me, my Holy Grail was a little different. And this was thank you, Shadow, because Shadow was able to procure this. And I got it in bubble tape. This is how I grailed it out. From the 1980s, one of my most favorite toy lines, Cops.
Nice.
And now you'll notice there's a blister package. It's like, you know, it's a little bent and everything. Who gives a damn? I just wanted the character. And it's in the packaging.
The fact that it exists in the packaging is cool enough.
And the thing I always loved about it, it came with the fire caps, you know, so that's generally one. So this one will always be in the packaging. It will be locked away in a safe somewhere with all the other goodies. But I thought I'd pull that out the vault for you guys.
Nice. Those are some awesome figures.
Oh yeah, man.
I gotta agree. I think like in terms of non-figure displayed artwork that pops, like Toy Biz in the 90s, great. I mean, I got a ton of boxes in the back. I'm happy to show. Let me grab one in particular.
Thanks, Clint.
So here's one of its Toy Story.
So here's one in particular. This is
Magneto's
mega, like, but you see, like, you don't really see the toy, right? But
no,
the artwork on a shelf is like, as Chet was saying, is just like, oh damn, this is what it looks like. I don't remember Magneto driving this, but you know,
I don't remember it either. But
there's a lot. One episode. How does Magneto need a car that's made out of metal? I don't get it.
or just any kind of vehicle.
That's for sure. I agree, G.I. Joe for sure. Probably some of the best art of all time. I love the G.I. Joe boxes. I mean, we had a Toys R Us special on the Shadow Crew podcast, and I would just love a whole wall of G.I. Joe in box mint. It just looks so clean. And then going back to Toy Biz, my favorite line pre-2000. So my favorite line, Toy Biz of all time, was 2006. That was the Marvel Legends lines. If you remember the massive plastic piece, like that line was so cool. That was the first time they introduced Build-A-Figure, so it was like massive, heavy figures. But before that, the Spider-Man animated series line from '94. This is Night Shadow, but this was really clean too. And again, going back to the Toy Biz, the pop. Right, you see this on the shelf, the colors. To me, this stands out. So I would say for sure. And then turtles, right? Like that's a given. I think you know that those are beautiful. They had to repop, and all these things are coming back in repops, right?
They
like
are.
Because retro cards, because like people want them, and it's not just because it's like I used to collect them as a kid, but even the young kids now are like, damn, that's a cool figure that's hanging on a Target peg hook. You know, I love Marvel Legends, the new stuff. I got tons of them in the back. And I think the figures are great. But I think what's less to be desired is the packaging. It's black packages says Marvel Legends. You know, it doesn't do it for me like what we just showed.
I think if Marvel Legends, so okay. I love the 2006 Marvel Legends series. In fact, there's 2 holy grails that I want from those series, and one of them is the Psylocke from it was like Build-A-Figure was the Mojo series.
Oh, okay.
And it was Psylocke. Now you can find the Psylocke figure in package, but what you can't find is the one that I want. And there's said to be very few of these, like if any, around anymore. But it's the Psylocke Crimson Dawn variant. That one is super hard to find. It's from the 2006 line. Everything about is the same as as the non-Crimson variant. It's just that you can't find the Crimson variant one of those. The other one that I want from that is it's series 15, and it is the Marvel Legends the Marvel Legends Wasp figure. Okay. You can find that anywhere, but you can't find the blue one. It's the same exact figure, but it's blue. And if you do find it, let me look here real quick. The asking price for Psylocke right now, you can easily get $2,500. And the Wasp variant, if you can find it, because it was apparently like, I don't know if it was like a mess up or something, but it's like $3,800 if you can find it.
Wow. Yeah.
So I love the 2006 Marvel Legends. Like I think it was a good size, packaged right. The blisters are all great. I think it's something to be desired.
Exo Squad. Oh, I do remember Exo Squad. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I think wasn't Marvel the first to do Build-A-Figure?
I
think Toy Biz.
I think they were. I
think that the first Build-A-Figure was. I wonder what the first Build-A-Figure was. I know Galactus was one of the original ones, and so was Galactus, and it was Apocalypse was another early one.
Toy Biz.
Sentinel, Toy Biz. I mean, what a concept!
So just doing my check here. So it was Build-A-Figure in 2000. Let's see, it says in 2005, Toy Biz introduced a Build-A-Figure referred to as BAF in the collector community, started with Series 9.
Okay. And what was the Series 9? What was the Build-A-Figure?
Build-A-Figure, it looks like it was Galactus.
I thought it was Galactus. Yep.
And that thing is so
that was
still.
If you got Bullseye, Deathlock, Hulk, Nightcrawler, Doctor Strange, War Machine, and Professor X.
Wow.
And then the second one was the Sentinel.
Okay.
Sentinel. But those are the two. Those are probably the two most expensive Build-A-Figures. The problem is like unless you buy them that somebody's already built them. If you want like to secure those 2006 toys, who wants to reopen those to make the Build-A-Figure? Like you're keeping like those men on card. So
yeah, you could just say like, oh, I could build the figure, but I'm not opening that crap.
Why doesn't Ninja Turtles do Build-A-Figure, man? That'd be rad.
Maybe because of the fact is that Toy Biz already did it. Maybe they just don't want to follow behind them, you know?
Maybe Playmates should do not build a figure, but build a playset. So each figure you buy gives you a different piece of the playset.
Well, you know, the one thing
G.I. Joe needs to do build a vehicle.
Yeah, G.I. Joe could reintroduce with the next line of classifieds the build a USS flag. You just have to buy every classified from when they announce it until 34 years from now.
Well, it'd be interesting. I do think that they should do the early the pack rats that they used to have. I haven't seen those pop through the GI Joe line, and that would be kind of cool if you did 3 or 4 figures and you'd had it updated like little pack rat, which is now I guess we refer to it as a drone. But yeah, you know what, Toy Biz, I remember going into KB Toys and the Toy Biz display would immediately pop off as you walked out. It was just. They knew how to draw the interest in. They didn't know Toy Biz didn't know how to do comics because they almost ran Marvel into the ground. But they could do action figures. I would give them credit. And now when you see that it's in the hands of Hasbro, and you're right, the packaging is. Look, I think we were all talking about the Shield 3-pack, and while that looks great, the images of it, I'm like, what's the packaging going to look like? Because that's where they kind of have the lackluster lately, is that they've got these great figures, but the packaging is not there anymore. Nothing gets you excited. You're looking a lot of times. I know they're still moving away from some of the plastic-free packaging, and I think this is probably going to be plastic related. But what's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike.
But it's just one of those things where it's like, what are they going to do? Because the Nick Fury character alone, you can do Samuel Jackson, or you can go to 100% classic comic book Nick Fury. I thought that was a really smart idea with some of the stuff that they're doing, but they've got it same way you're talking about Star Wars Black Series. Look, the vintage Kenner stuff, you saw that from a mile away. The Star Wars series, you can just put a different character in a different box, and you're just not there. So they have a packaging problem, and you're right. If you look at again, we can go back and look at some of the Toy Biz. It hanged on the hook a lot better. There's a full display of the character and the wording. You can see that from the other end of the toy store. So they've really got to do something to bring that excitement back to the packaging.
Well, I think they've solved it by just the retro cards. I don't think they're gonna modify the new Marvel Legends stuff, or if you look at the McFarlane line, right? Specifically, the DC multiverse stuff.
Yeah.
The packaging's average. It all looks the same. It looks like books if you stack them in a shelf, and you could see Batman, this Batman. So from a storage standpoint, it makes sense. You turn the figure, and it's just the different figure posed, which is cool. You get to see it off the shelf, which I appreciate, versus some of the shitty stuff that Marvel's been doing with you can't even see the figure. But it doesn't pop, right? So I love the 80s, mid 90s retro card stuff that they're introducing. I think the challenge is, whether it be Playmates or whether it be Hasbro, whatever, introduce a new line of figures with that style. You're bringing the Street Sharks back. Create a new concept. That's cool. You're bringing Street Sharks back. I'm excited about that. Create a new toy line with a 80s, 90s feel. That would be badass. I don't think anybody's doing that, but it would be interesting to see.
Well, we've been looking at some of these independent toy companies, and I noticed there's a lot of the ones that are doing the Kickstarter. Some of those packagings have really come out of the box. Now, although they're going through crowdfunding, I think it's a little easier in that way to actually, because you're purchasing something that's not mass distributed. It's directly coming to the consumer, so they can up it for the for the packaging and everything. Now I saw Mattel Toys, they had the Biker Mice for Men, and that looked just like some of the new packaging on the shelf. I was a little disappointed by the look of that, but again, you're right. I think Chris, they're doing things where it's stackable. You can stack them on the shelf easier. Instead, you need the hooks and the long pegs in order to put the stuff from the 80s, but that's sold better. I'm looking at the octagonish kind of Marvel Legends packaging. That stuff's not selling. The same thing when you're looking through the Star Wars Black Series. That stuff's not selling because it all looks like it's the same rudimentary packaging. So,
well, you're selling it to collectors, fans that who want to play with the figure, who don't care about the packaging, but you're not getting other people not looking for the figure to like capture their eyes. One thing I wanted a honorable mention is the original Transformers G1 line packaging.
Yes, I was gonna say
is
that.
awesome. I think if you want to capture 80s, that design, if you look at like the old G1 Optimus Prime.
Oh yeah,
I have the
it's
G1
so beautiful.
Grimlock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I love it. It's super classic, timeless. So I got to give some love there. And you could see the toy, cool artwork on the side, kind of the inspired 80s retro lines from the old kind of video game stuff. So I like that packaging.
And it had like an actual box. They just made it look like it's frozen in time with their with their bubble. Makes me want to buy a vacuum sealing machine.
The one thing they should actually bring back too is that those G1s, if you flipped over the back, they had the power surge of the characters. So that's it kind of was like, you know, the same way where you're into like a lot of the trading cards with the power up levels. They used to have that on the G1 Transformers. And I always crack up like, oh, Optimus Prime's at a 4 and he can do this. And, you know, it was always like a measure between the line. And that's something completely ran from the newer packaging. I noticed even with the G.I. Joe, they used to have like the file cards on the back and they broke down the characters.
Yeah.
Now they just have the barcode, or I'm sorry, the scrambled, I can't even remember off the back of my head right now,
UPC.
But UPC codes where you snap it, then you go to GIJoe.com and you see that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it was you read the character, you were on the way home, you knew what he was, his skills and everything else. Maybe they should reintroduce that and balance between the packaging to get a trading card feel from it, you know?
Well, do you remember Transformers had, I'm trying to remember what they called it, but it was like it would like say Optimus Prime and have the picture, and then it was like garbled code, and you had to have the decoder, which was red, and you put it over, and it would like,
I don't remember that.
I know that those came out around the time that G.I. Joe started doing their profile cards and stuff, and it didn't take off, but it was a cool concept. I remember that because today specifically I was on Whatnot, which is weird. I'm hardly ever on there. And they were selling them. I just didn't know enough about them, but I looked at them and I thought that was kind of rad. I forget what they were called though.
Yeah, they again, the packaging, they I think they put just as much thought in the toy as the packaging. Now the packaging is secondary thoughts to them because there are a bunch of people that still are minting card collecting, and then there's certain people that just ripping it off and throwing it. But just having a bunch of stuff on the shelves, that's just not doing it. You're gonna have to give it a little better display or something, or at least put it in a diorama kind of like thing. If you're gonna just have it, give us a little something else with the packaging, make it modern. Same thing with McFarlane. I think currently McFarlane's packaging is just as plain as anyone else. There's nothing really to it other than he's got something that you can put on the shelf, sits well, but he's not doing anything creative with that as well.
Well, what packaging? Out of all the packaging you can think of, like what packaging has held up to the test of time?
I mean, you have to say like the ones that have not really changed.
Yeah,
is the Star Wars stuff. Like and G.I. Joe very similarly, like the small bubble pack on the card. Well, I mean, the Black Series came out. I know, like you got the Classified Series, larger toys, but I think those two like have kept on, and you got to throw Turtles up there too. But Star Wars has just been around for shit.
It has been
late 70s, and it's still like crazy. Yeah, cardboard backs. Like it's just.
But one thing I know we're not giving love to, and I will say that the same way when you look at Playmates, and it just hit me right now, Mattel and the Masters of the Universe. That's the same vintage packaging that they've been running from the 80s.
Oh, I love that. I love that artwork, by the way. I come across some like clearance items, because I'm not a He-Man collector.
No.
But I'll see it at Target. I'm like, damn, that.
Even though you have prototype He-Man.
Yeah, but that's a one-off.
Exactly.
That's like a unique thing. I'm not like an avid collector. Like, although that new Skeletor that came out from the Eternia, where he's sitting on the throne,
Yeah, I saw that. Wow.
That might be purchased. That might be purchased. That might. It's a display piece.
That's one of my favorites of all of
oh yeah, it's put Snake Mountain behind it.
Either Snake Mountain, yeah.
But that artwork is so great.
It is.
I love that, man. I just need the boxes. I don't need the figures. Let me just display the boxes.
They haven't changed their packaging. It's been the same as gone through the 80s. The artwork's the same. They up it a little bit, but also the one thing I will give the Motu figure line is you can walk across from any angle of the store and see it. Is the He-Man, if they did Castle Grayskull and green, and it's smart. I mean, you can see every piece of the figure, every piece of the accessories. You
can see Castle Grayskull even like driving by a store if they have it in the fucking window.
Exactly.
Because of that green just is like, what is that? Like, I need to go in and buy that.
Yeah.
They killed it in the playset era.
They did.
But
yes,
they
did.
And I really think that Mighty Max just made miniature versions of He-Man playsets.
Yeah.
Because if I look at I have like a Skull Mountain from Mighty Max, and like that could be blown up and turned into like He-Man at any point in time. You know what I mean?
Exactly. But I
know we talked about it before, but like that's what's kind of missing is playsets.
Yes.
In the current era of toys.
Playsets at a cost that people can afford.
Exactly.
Right? Because like if you think about it,
well, what's the NECA one that's coming out that's like $300?
Yes,
like
the
sewer, the turtle sewer
collectors.
Yeah, and in the era of people with 3D printers, it's kind of like,
wow.
I could just 3D print it and color it myself.
You can look at the Ace from Ramen Toys, and he has his version of the modular, like he calls it, but it's the sewer system, and it's at a more reasonable price. And he has an upper deck to it, a lower street level. So he's doing what up, Vintage? He's doing a great job with that, and it's at a reasonable price. Look, Cat Slayer is not reasonable. Cat Slayer, you're not purchasing that for children. That's for grown people. And the pricing for that, or like you look at Eternia, that's not purchased for children. You have to get something back where, look, at one point or another, let's just be quite honest about this. We're going to be phased out of the buying level. We're going to be gone. So are you building the same kind of nostalgia that we have for the 80s items to kids right now? Because Super 7 and some of the, even NEC itself, they're not doing something to retain the newer fans. I know McFarlane tried those page punchers, and we can get into this whole image. I don't know if this happened to you, Chet, but I've had Amazon tell me 3 times that this item's being delayed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a couple of comic books, it's in the clam packaging, and it's like really not detailed cards.
I think that they just didn't sell as much as they wanted to.
I don't think so either.
Because we pre-ordered them.
Yeah.
Which page puncher?
So he ordered both of the G.I. Joe ones, and I ordered both of the Transformer ones.
And who's doing the Transformers ones?
They're both by McFarlane.
Oh yeah, all of them are McFarlane.
Yeah,
interesting. So he got the license to both of those. I didn't even know
McFarlane
did.
Yeah. But we talked about how he probably got the license so they could see if it
works exactly. But
crazy.
They gave him now, instead of doing something where they gave him all the Marvel books, they gave him all the IDW books. Yeah. And the more, if you're going to reprint anything, it would have been better for the Marvel books with the G.I. Joe and Transformers. It just would have made sense. But also, I've just the other night, I got something from Amazon saying, "Oh, this item is going to be delayed at this point." And I'm like, "Wow!" It's like
I'm checking right now,
and I'm starting to see some of the other page punchers that he's doing popping up at Ross. And these are entry level things where, look, if you want to, get a younger fan to read something and to give them a little toy or something, that's smart. But like Super 7, $55, are you pricing out? Are you building nostalgia for these newer fans? Is it something that they could do? Is, the same thing you're looking at from some of these other companies, the Cells and all the NECA. Are you guys thinking about the next generation of fans that you need? Because there's going to be eventually a point that, look, we're all in our 40s and 50s. How long are we going to really keep collecting these items? So you better start building enough for people that's when they get to their 20s and 30s, they're still purchasing it. or these toy companies are not going to be around.
I'm using my Social Security to buy toys until I'm 95 years old. Some of these toys are going in the casket. So to answer your question,
but you're going to have to.
Yeah. Well, I think too. But if you think about if you think about why the collecting is so big in toys for like our age, right? It's because there were badass toys that came out when we were kids and we didn't have money. Now we have money, and whatever's badass, we just buy and put in our house.
And sometimes too much money.
Yeah, Chris and I are comparing photos of boxes showing up at our houses right now.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When I was a kid, there was one toy that I remember getting, and it probably destroyed the package on my birthday, but I always wanted an original mint on card Mad Ball. And Mr. Chet Maddox secured one of those bad boys. Now you want to talk about, we're talking action figures, Mr. Storm, but you got to give it up to some of the, just toys in general. Now you got to show this. I didn't want to put you on the spot, but I just think it's like badass packaging. Look at that.
Yeah.
Man, that is so awesome.
Wait, hold on, because just to be clear.
Okay.
You see,
I have two of them.
Yeah.
You don't even see that. You don't even see that packaging anymore. Like it's almost like I love just like, how about just give a kid a gross ball? Squeezable gross ball.
That's all it was. And for anyone watching, these will probably never be for sale. But they're there. You can stare at them if you want to. But this is it's.
I'll give you credit. Same thing when you're talking about the packaging. I know we all have this incredibly bad problem. I think we're going to probably have to have like an intervention specialist start, because we're starting to get to the level where we're getting a little bit too far in this. But the same way, man, it's like some of these pre-orders have been just popping up, and I literally walked out last week. I had Vamp pop in, and then there are like 3 more pre-orders. I was like, oh my Lord, have mercy! It's like it just keeps coming on top of coming. So, but once you pull it out the packaging, you see it everything for a little while. The newer stuff, the nostalgia is not there. It's just like you're like, wow, it's cool. You appreciate it for 10 minutes. But it's something where it's like, again, I'm looking at this Cops figure, and I remember when Shadow gave it to me, he was like, hey man, it's like, because if there's anybody that has the ultimate toy vaults that you have never seen, and I know Mike was talking about the Garbage Pail Kids and the gentleman that had the house that they had to dig stuff through. There's a museum at Shadow's house, and when he was like, oh yeah, I'm putting up some of this stuff. And I said, you have original Cops? He goes, yeah. And he goes like, oh, brother, did you want one? And he handed it to me. I was like, well, what's the pricing? What is it? Nope. I said, I'm just going to give this to you. I was like, you sure you don't want a kidney? Because I'm willing to give that to you.
Well, I think what the problem is is no one is making toys for that reason. Like no one's like, I mean, if you think about all the years that we're talking about of toys that we like, whether it's like late 80s, early 90s, I mean, video games were around, but they weren't as big as they are now. So you had to keep the kids entertained with something, and it was like bright and fun and G.I. Joe. And I think G.I. Joe came out around the time where it's like, dude, like, you were good if your parents could afford G.I. Joe, because there was a figure and a vehicle for every aspect of life on G.I. Joe.
True.
And like you think about it, like everyone that I know and everyone I've met has probably had a G.I. Joe figure in their time. And I'm not a big G.I. Joe collector. I can appreciate certain things from G.I. Joe and appreciate what they did for the toy industry and still continue to do, but everyone had one at the time, and whether it was a boat you used in the bathtub when you were little or the tank you just threw around the dirt because that's what you thought tanks did, like none that doesn't exist now. And all these companies, I appreciate that they're making it for the collectors, but if you just bring back 1994, 5, 6 Kenner like style Batman figures, like you're gonna blow it out of the water. Like articulation and like all this other crap is like, yeah, maybe, but like Look at this Kenner Batman. Look at this. Like, there's no articulation in this, but look at it. Looks good. You know, it sits well. And it's just that is what's missing to build the nostalgia feeling of toys in the future. Because right now people are gonna be like, oh, they're gonna still be like, I want an 80s toy, right? I want 90s.
Of course. And that's the thing I think that's drawn from the interest. Is like, let's be honest, you know, like I said, you know, back behind me, the His Tank and the Vamp both sit on top of the shelf. But inside also there's the retro His Tank that's in there as well. Now, back in the day, that His Tank would have been outside and you would have seen it. There's no damn way in the world that you're ever going to see that off the shelf. The only dirt you'll see is maybe when I'm dusting.
Yeah, but the one I got you is the one that would be like you would just go out and throw in the dirt. Yeah,
you would have actually went out and played with, and this is the aspect though. So for every Hiss that they're making and every Vamp and everything, then they need to scale it back and have something that they're getting directly to the new generation, that they can get the same kind of feeling that we had back to them. And they're just skipping that line because they're all chasing the money now. But you got to chase the money for the future, and they're dropping the ball on that right now.
So I'm not gonna not talk about this in this cast, because I think it is super important. And I think we Storm, you and I have talked about this. I know I've talked with Chris about it off thing, but the one packaging that popped on the shelf when you saw it is Mask. When you saw that orange color like drew your eyes to it. I have the box back here for Outlaw, and
still draw my eyes to it.
and the box for Rhino. I want the other boxes, but they're not as important to me. They're not big enough. Boulder Hill's one box I want. But those, no one's really recreated that. And that's another toy that's sold based on the box. Like, it literally sold based on box. So you couldn't see it. It was packaged because the cars move so much. But like, even the small figures, there's no window. It was just a really good illustration of the toy, and the orange grabbed you.
I think also, but remember the one aspect that went with that, and they're not doing that anymore because they're not allowed to do it. But those Mask commercials, and I think I sent you a vintage Mask commercial or something the other day. And like, you know, you didn't need, that's when the plastic-free packaging issues, you didn't need to see the characters because you saw someone demonstrate it, play with it, and hyped it up. That was the one aspect that they were able to, you knew when you were going to the store what the item was going to do.
Yeah, and Mask did it so well because they always showed off 3 of their things in one commercial. There's always 3. So
yeah. So most definitely, again, if there's any kind of like, you know, there's any toy executives or anybody out there's listening, like, what's the one thing that you can do? You need to start thinking about the next generation of people out there, and like, you know, you already have our money. You know, you got these fans' money. What you need to do is what you're setting up, and again, maybe it's the bright colors. You know, I would love to see Marvel Legends do some throwback, you know, 80s and 90s Toy Biz kind of like, you know, style. And I've seen some of the packaging that they're doing. They're going back to some retro packaging, but it would be nice to see across the line more of that done, you know.
Hey, let's not forget the 1990s line of WWF wrestling figures from Hasbro.
Sure.
Those that packaging was really cool too.
And I distinctly remember, doesn't the Tech Master have like a crap load of that stuff?
I don't know if he has he might have something. I know Shadow definitely does.
Oh, we know he definitely does.
But those were cool. Those were super cool too.
I think maybe those were the 90s, because I remember when we used to go to Tech Master's house, and like when I thought I was a fan.
Mid 90s,
yeah. When I thought I was a fan of like action figures and everything, and his whole entire wall full of this stuff.
On card, all the Andre the Giant and
I'm
Macho Man. He still has them.
Who was this?
The Tech Master.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he still has it. Some of those
those
figures go for crazy
Oh yeah,
crazy
yeah.
dollars.
And the thing I used to like about it too, they mostly all had real material. Like you're looking at some of the stuff now, it's kind of like, plastic jackets and everything. But no, they were like, I think it's that Nature Boy Ric Flair one had the actual robes and everything else. Like, wow, man. Some of that stuff is like they were putting some work in for that stuff, man.
Yep. I mean, I think try finding an original. Let me see, 1990 Jake the Snake.
Oh wow!
On mint on card. Let's see how much that's on eBay right now. It goes for about $250.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Try to find that loose with Damien the Snake.
Exactly.
It's like impossible.
Just try to find Damien the Snake. Let's not get too crazy here.
So we're gonna declare a winner. Let's go. I would say probably I'm gonna give it to Toy Biz. I'm gonna have to throw my votes in. I think that they did it the best and everything.
Look at
we'll
this.
We'll hold up to Toy Biz's.
I mean,
Toy Biz did it the best, man.
I mean, again, going back to look at this stuff. Yep. I mean, there's a special place in my heart for some of these other the turtle stuff again, all the cardboard stuff. But I think in terms of just popping off the shelf, Toy Biz was just great.
The colors, the characters. Look, there was the first time they were. Oh wow, yeah, they were giving us Marvel characters that we weren't normally getting, because when they used to run it, there was always Spider-Mans.
Is that that's the original Wolvie? I think it's the first.
Oh yeah, I don't buy seconds. This is his
first figure.
Yeah, this is Wolverine's first figure. I don't buy seconds
with the snap claws.
Yeah, I used to, like I said, that Toy Biz stuff just looked fantastic, man. And you know what? They did it for such a very long time. And, it's interesting now that they're no longer there, but their products are still selling. Every time I'm on eBay and, whatnot and everything, I see a lot of that Toy Biz stuff just recirculating, because they knew what they were going to do. You got like the entire X-Men lines. You had like some of the X-Force figures. I think they did the very first Deadpool figure. There's a lot of stuff that they were just doing, ripping them directly from the books. When he had the Jim Lees, the Rob Liefelds, the Mark Silvestris, Will Spatacios, they had a wealth of stuff. I remember Omega Red when they had him as on card back. There's just a lot of great stuff that he did. I used to love that. When it went in with the X-Men television show or a cartoon show, they just had so many stuff. And the Spider-Man show again, like I noticed you said the stuff and everything. What's going on, Meeks?
For the win.
True. But
yeah, I think Toy Biz killed it. We've talked about this before. Like Hasbro has so many IPs.
They do,
and they don't use them. And every time I realize what other IP they have, I just start getting more and more pissed off. So,
well, they're gonna have to definitely do something. But speaking of Hasbro,
here's the thing for Hasbro. Let me buy your mask IP. Just let me purchase it, and trust me.
Well, I know that we've had, the pre-orders of the week and everything with a new segment and everything. So usually every now and then we're going to do an unboxing. These will definitely not be unboxed in any way, but popping in, I know, like I said again, Chet, we know that, the UPS truck backed up to your house and everything. So I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of stuff going. But I got in something that's been popping through everyone else's feeds. And it seems like for one strange reason, California, we're getting that stuff late here. But some of the 60th anniversary Joes popped in, and I got this is a sailor, and it comes with 2 different heads and more accessories that I've seen, but also like again the plastic-free packaging. This will not be getting out of the boxes. I have the 25th, and I've got some 30th anniversary stuff.
That's one of the Joes of recent that you don't have to open up to see if you got the stupid figure or not.
You pray, but this is the Action Soldier Infantry. And there's a little bit of cloth on this too, man. So, and I noticed that a lot of guys are saying the Hasbros. I know Bobby Villa over at Action Force, some of his characters, Valorverse, He's had some of that stuff, and there's a little competition going back and forth between the two companies, because I remember he introduced some of his snow characters that had like, full on cloth material, and then all of a sudden, Hasbro's popping it in. But those were two of my pre-orders of the week that after the Vamp, that started dropping. I've got a bunch of other stuff coming. So what you end up pre-ordering and coming up in the package for yourself, Chat?
Well, none of my pre-orders have come in, but I want to take this time because you talked about G.I. Joe, and I'm getting ready to package up a package for you, and Mr. Chris as well, and these are toy related. Now, for those of you that do or do not know, we're in the process of making figure stands that hold all the accessories. And so we got into this conversation where we were talking about, hey, this would be cool if we had something like an army box for G.I. Joe Classified to stand on. And then the next day I sent an image to Mr. Storm, and he asked me, did you sleep? And I responded with probably not. So I'm going to show you live. This is going to be part of it, but you're going to have the first and only white one ever to be made, just so you're aware.
I got the prototype.
But this is the stand. So this is the army box, and you're probably wondering what happened to the handles. Well, I'll show you that in a second. So
actually, why don't you blow your screen up so everybody can see that?
Okay, hold on. You want to see the? I don't know if I can. There we go.
There you go.
So this is this is the army box that I made.
Yeah, we were talking about a Foot Locker. And I was like,
it's nice,
like the old school G.I. Joe.
Yeah.
And then this is a peg for your foot, and you know how long I've been researching the pegs.
I remember we've been researching.
And then you just take it.
Accessories,
nice. And there's all your accessories. And because I don't want it to break, I'm shipping it with these handles that you then
I'll place one to the side.
You glue onto here.
That's nice.
But you can organize your one and only, if you have like a Crazy Joe and you want to put it on there.
There you go.
Feel free to do that.
And I know we've been talking about there'll be different coloring on it right now. There'll be the standard.
There'll never be another white one, my friend.
Oh no, that's the prototype. But we wanted to do something where we thought what would work between Action Force and G.I. Joe, and with the classified characters. And we've seen a lot of guys with their ammo boxes and everything, but we're like, how do we do that functionally on stands that people will want to purchase? And it was just one of those things where we're up middle of the night one night talking about this thing, and then next I get up in the morning, he's like, you know what, I figured this out. And I'm like, wow. So I can't wait to put it in the glass. There's going to be a Joe on it. There'll be great production shots of that, but that's coming to the Toy Box Chronicles stands that will be available for purchase.
And then Mr. Chris, you have a bunch coming your way too.
Yeah,
I'm excited, man.
All prototype colors, by the way. We're not reproducing them in these colors. These are all just ones that I want you guys to have to be able to.
They'll be one-on-one.
They're all one-on-one. But no pre-orders. Chris, did you get any pre-orders in or anything you want to show? Or?
I did. You probably have seen it in the background. I could probably just take the box real quick. But this one is, I've been looking forward to this bad boy for the longest time. And it cost me a lot of money, but I don't care.
The best ones always do, man.
Meek said if I could post a GIF, it would be Fry yelling, "Shut up and take my money."
So this is, I don't know if you want to blow the screen up so you can see.
Blow the screen up.
So this just released a couple weeks ago. This is the Dr. Doom.
Oh wow, man!
112 Mezco.
Wow, that's awesome. I need to.
For those of you who don't know Mezco, it's like the next level articulation, right?
Mezco Money Co.
So these are all the accessories that it comes with. I haven't taken it out of the box yet, but here's the interesting thing about this that they haven't done with any Mezcos is that his armor and his chain are made out of metal.
Wow.
They went full Dr. Doom on this bad boy here.
Wow.
And after securing this figure, there's the MCU and Hollywood executives. Kang is defeated. It's time to bring in Mr. Doom. It's time to bring in the Doctor.
Oh yeah.
Wow. I got to work with the team here. We've got some, Chet and Dr. Brantley video production, but I do need to do a full unboxing of this bad boy. I've not opened it yet, but this is the ultimate collector toy. I've been waiting for this, and it finally came in. I got a lot of Mezcas, but this is by far the my favorite one. So,
I almost bought one of those, but I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't know that it was. I didn't know it was metal.
You can't make one without metal, man. Come on, it's Dr. Doom.
Doctor Doom is one of the most underrated characters of all time, and the reason why he's underrated is because everyone judges him based off of those stupid movies that came out. Meeks wants you to open.
I got to fully commit to this bad boy because he's got 100 different accessories, and I promise I will work with the video production team to do a full unboxing, but. That's definitely, and I got a ton more pre-orders coming. So, I can't join every week, but no new Mezcos.
Well, you know what? I know we were talking to like the Junk Cartel to have him pop in and everything. I think we have to do a once a month check-in with Chris on the toy box.
Well, I got so many figures coming in, so extend the invite. I'm happy to join a specific topic. But lots of new toys coming in, pre-orders and all that good stuff. I got to say, the pre-order over the past couple of weeks, some good pre-orders. I pre-ordered that Wolvie Deadpool Fantastic Four 2-pack. From Marvel. I just thought that was cool, man. Wolverine and Spider-Man with a Fantastic Four costume. I'm all in, man. I'm all in. People don't remember that actually happened. It did in the books, but like it was such it wasn't an extended run.
One of my favorite figures, which is really hard to find, is the Amazing Mr. Bagman, which is where Spider-Man lost his suit and didn't have anything, so he had to put a Fantastic Four suit on with a bag over his head. That's one of my favorite characters.
I've also seen it at a couple of Detroit Flyer games too, and everything without the Spider-Man suit. So if you're here in Los Angeles, and maybe a couple of Laker games, you might have to put some bags on the heads for it too.
I am very interested. Once we, I'm sure, Mr. Storm, you'll send news our way. You usually do through our chat channels. But if those new Simpsons figures that they're releasing have better articulation, I'm all on board with those. Like I would love to have some better quality Simpsons figures, but we'll see. If it's the same, like the retro type of stuff, whatever. But if it's better articulation, and I would love to see bigger figures too. That would be cool as well.
Well, I know one of our representatives will be at WonderCon. Extended family members, Mr. Michael Button, comic book guy living a comic book life, artist supreme and everything. I've told him to pop in some panels, try to take some videos for us. So we can pop up some next week. So he's going to be hitting that show. So if you guys are sitting there and you see Mike, he's going to be wearing his a big giant comic book character. It's going to say Mike Button from Mike Button Universe. You'll see him with a giant hoodie on. So walk up to him, let him know, hey man, it's I know you're here for the Shadow Nose Network, Toy Box Chronicles and everything. So we'll definitely get some stuff through. So I'll have him pop into that. Over to that Jack Specific panel and see if he can actually see any kind of live presentations or anything. Get that over to us.
Rad. Well, I think that probably is wrapping it up, unless anyone has anything last. But something's happening on Friday. That is kind of big news. For those of you that have been following everyone along on this journey of we're just going to try it out and see what happens 34 episodes later. This coming Friday. Is
okay, you need to cut it now for the 10
this coming Friday.
Did it just in time, count to 5. We don't get any. We're not yet. Yeah.
It's
I was counting in my head, 5 seconds. No more strikes.
It's the last Shadow Crew podcast under the old name, which the following one on April 5th will be the first live stream of Pixels Plastic Inc. And you might be surprised what you see on camera.
They're going to be. Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're going to be excited.
It's going to be some exciting stuff. Yeah.
So please join us on Friday. We might go a little bit longer. We're gonna talk about obvious news and things like that. We're gonna give kind of a recap of what's gone on with the podcast, kind of maybe show some old clips, talk about it, talk through best of. We're really just gonna give like a quick rundown of what happened and even remind everybody of our Graveyard Awards, which we had our first one ever last year. And then if you guys haven't seen it on the YouTube channel and you haven't subscribed and liked, remember that's all free, so you should probably go do that. Retro Rewind Club put out a 90s Toy Biz episode, so go check that out. Share that as much as you can. And there's going to be an official countdown to the Pixel Plastic Inc. Whatnot store. And I got to tell you, with some of the stuff that we've been doing in the background, don't be surprised if it doesn't become a live podcast on Whatnot. Is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anymore.
It's going to be innovative, brother. That's what I've heard. It's innovative, something that hasn't been tried before. And once it's done, you will not be able to unsee it. I can tell you that.
That's right. It's like seeing your grandmother naked.
Oh, no, not that bad.
Yeah, well, it's how bad it is. Chris, any final thoughts?
No, thanks for the invite. I love talking toys, and it's always fun, man. As a toy collector and growing up in the age of the coolest toys of all time in the 80s and 90s and even current stuff that's coming out, man. So thanks for the invite and happy to come back for future episodes. But I guess I'll see you all live 7 p.m. on Friday on the Shadow Crew podcast. Or I was thinking we should just do like the print symbol, and we could just say the podcast formerly known as the Shadow Crew podcast.
That would
just
work.
have the logo.
Maybe that'll work.
Do like a money sign.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. All right, well, we appreciate everyone for stopping by. Wouldn't be doing this if it wasn't for you. So thank you for hanging out with us for the last hour, 11 minutes and 43 seconds. But I got other important shit I have to do, and I don't think anyone else wants to see my face because it's a lot to take in. Anyways, Mr. Storm, it's been a pleasure. Chris,
always
absolute pleasure having you. We're almost getting to the point where you and I are seeing each other 3 times a week now. So
yeah.
Anyways, everyone, you can hang out here longer if you want. We just won't be here. So with that being said, adios, muchachos and muchachas. Stay sexy, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.